my God, I'm super excited to get started. Hey, it's the Trinity Podcast, where Becky and I are helping Americans to understand and mastering real estate investing, business and personal credit, and the money matrix. Now it's rigged against you. So basically how each one affects you and how to leverage your Trinity wealth to take control of your own economic independence, which is unheard of in today's market. Becky, I'm super excited to get started. Let's roll the credit coach queen.
Yay. I'm super excited to be here too. I love speaking all things credit and wealth and understanding how all this stuff works. And I know we're going to go over some wealthy tips from billionaires today and define what real wealth is. And so in honor of that, I thought that I would go to the dictionary and I would look up what the definition of wealth actually is. And so the definition of wealth is an abundance of valuable possessions or money. And it says right below it, which I find hilarious, he uses his wealth to bribe officials. Like, why would you put that there in Webster Dictionary? Like, does everybody use their wealth for bad stuff? No. The real people use wealth for good things. And so that's what's super exciting. And then I want to do this one little thing, and then we'll dive right into what the billionaires have to say about wealth, because I can't wait to hear all about that and dive into that. But the next thing that says in the phone, right? It says people also ask, what are the 3 types of wealth? And I really wanted to know what they say in here, because they might have something to this for sure. And so it says wealth can be categorized into 3 principal categories: personal property, including homes or automobiles, monetary savings, such as an accumulation of past income, and the capital wealth of income producing assets, including real estate, stocks, bonds, and businesses. And so if you are on this podcast, you are in the right spot to learn about everything that it just talked about in the 3 types of wealth. So that's all I say about that. I thought that was awesome. Okay.
I find it intriguing that in the first one it said personal possessions, right? And your house was listed in that.
Mm-hmm. Me
but
too.
But in the third one, real estate investing was listed in that. So if you're listening to this, know that it's 2 separate things, right? And what is your home is a wealthy approach, right? Like your to own it is wealthy, but it's not an asset. So I just want to I thought that was interesting to hear how they placed that for real estate investing. Those keywords always
your home's not an asset. What do you mean?
Exactly. So yeah, many people think that, well, I bought a house. Isn't that an asset? No. So if you learn nothing at all from the rest of our podcast and past podcasts, know that anything that takes money out of your pocket, even if you have your house paid off, right? You still have to pay taxes, is a liability. And anything that gives you income, like a rental property, assets, right? Gives you cash in your pocket, that is an asset. So take out liability, put in asset. Personal home, liability. Investing property, asset. So there you go. We're done.
I need to know. Gosh, when I was 19 or 20, I started listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it was awesome because he really made that obvious whenever he talked about assets and liabilities. And he talked about how he got his start in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He talked about how he purchased stock. And then as soon as the stock earned enough money, he took what he had invested in the stock out and then let the money keep growing. And I just thought that was so interesting. And so, there's a lot of ways to do that with your house too, because your house does go up in value. And so there is equity in the property. And so what would you define as equity, Joanna? And is that something that you would do? Like, I know whenever I was doing real estate investing in the past, it was like cash flow or what was it? Oh my gosh, how to buy houses with no money down. Carlton Sheets. And he talked about how you just treated your house like an ATM, and anytime you needed money, you just pulled the equity out of it. And so let's make a little bit of a distinction. Like, should you pull equity out of your personal property? Should you pull equity out of real estate? Which one should you do? Why? What would be like a principal thought process there?
Oh my God, that's a loaded question. Absolutely. Okay, so first and foremost, love Carlton Sheets, but he did teach a couple of broke principles. And the first thing that shot out of my head when you're speaking of him was he did say, treat your house like an ATM, and please don't do that. Please don't do that. So many people did that, and that's where that whole turn of events happened. There was a lot of refinancing, and back in 2005 and 6, and people just thought the world was going up and never going to crash, right? Obviously, we all were awakened by a huge crash in the market, and the banks were to blame for it. They should have never sold those products in the first place. And Carlton Sheets should have never said, treat your house like an ATM. Because now their loans are way up here and the value is way down here. And that's what started all the short sales. And then the market went plummeted, right? So I don't buy those types of principles from people. I listen to billionaires and their success stories, and that's what we're going to bring you here today. And, Carlton Sheets has his own way of making his money. However, it's not, so that's making money, but we're going to talk about keeping more of the money you make, right? So yes, you can listen to people on how to make money, but we're going to teach you how to keep more of the money that you make. So, and there's lots of ways to make money out there. I mean, you just turn your head, someone saying, hey, here's how to make $1,000. Here's how to make 200,000. Here's how to make $1 million, whatever. You can take your personal genius and make a course out of it. Like, there's so many things out there that people are telling you how to make money. Crypto, all of that. There's so much scamming going on with crypto that you don't even know where the real stuff is, the right stuff that's really going to be great for you. And again, that's why we're doing these podcasts, so that you can get educated in all those things. So the question was basically, what was the question again? I had to read.
You're fine. You got a download, and so it was awesome. The question was basically, should you pull equity out of your personal property versus real estate property, and when and why? Like, what would be the point of doing that? Like, here's my story. I feel like I had my personal property. I purchased it for $37,000 a long time ago, and I refinanced it, and I put it in my name. So I did a lease with option to buy. I put $1,500 down. When I took the loan out to actually purchase the property, I what did I do? It was 50,000. This is so long ago. It's like 20 years ago. So I got some cash back whenever I closed my loan, and then took that money and started investing in other property. But the property was actually worth $75,000 whenever I purchased it. And so I had $25,000 in equity. And so I feel like when everything started to go wrong in 2008, my solution was to refinance my property, pull all the equity out of it, pay off my credit cards. And I feel like that was a mistake because I wasn't using that money to buy another asset or build some sort of other wealth. I used it to pay off credit cards. And what I, in essence, did is amortize those loans over 30 years. So I took credit card debt that was simple interest, and I made it to where, and this might be over your head. If you have questions, just put them in the comments and say, hey, what are you talking about? But either way, I feel like it took what I could have paid off way faster is the point. And I stretched it out over a 30-year thing, and I'm paying five times more interest than I ever would have had to if I would have come up with a better solution. Anyway, so that's my story. That's part of my story of real estate investing. And so circling back down to the question is, when you refinance a property or you pull equity out of a property, when is it smart to do it, and when is it a big, huge mistake to do it? What do you think?
So I love the question. Love the question. I'm so glad I got on my soapbox just a minute ago. For your story is the very reason, by putting credit cards in your refinance, just totally stretching them out and having to pay tons more than you should have. So when should you pull money out of your house? So first answer is never for debt. Do not pull out for debt. There's another way. You can go create more money or quit racking up the debt, right? So there's that. And some of us are just like in a pickle, and I get it, that you just have to make that happen. Maybe it's you take a second job. Maybe it is you do your Genius Zone, you start your own coaching program, or all of that that's happened over the last 2 years through the pandemic, right? Whatever it is, you need to pray to God or source, universe, whatever it is for you, get that download on and meditate. So if you put yourself in a quiet box, it'll come to you on how you're supposed to handle that, right? Strategically, why you should take money out of your home is you already have a plan. You already went and you meditated, and you're like, oh, here's the plan that God gave me, that universe gave me, that source gave me. I meditated on it, and my guides said, this is what I should do, right? Now you have a plan. The plan is, if I take this money out of my property, it might not even be takeout. Maybe it's you get a home equity line of credit, which is a HELOC in short terms. You get a HELOC, and so it stays there on your property until you actually use it. It's not pulled out and sitting in your bank, right? So it's available to go make another house purchase, another investment property. So, or maybe it's an asset of another sort, but make it something that's going to get a return on your investment. So when you pull that money out, you know you're going to have to pay interest on it. So is what you're doing going to cover that interest and more, right? Like you need to actually make money on what you're doing. And if none of this makes sense to you, well, then maybe you should get on the phone with us so we can help you out. Happy to do that. Comment in the comments and let us know where we can serve you. What I'm saying here is you need to have a plan for that money. You need to have a plan that is not concerning debt. And this is the part where I'm going to say, don't listen to people that are commission only based. So financial planners, realtors, mortgage brokers, all of those are going to steer you in their direction. I kid you not. I was a mortgage broker at one point, realtor. So they're going to steer you to that point. And if you ask any financial planner about what you should do, it's going to be stocks and bonds and mutual funds. It's not going to be real estate assets. Why? Because they don't get paid commission on that. So listen to the backstory of why they're telling you what you should do. Any advisors in your life, your parents, your friends. And that brings us to the 4 principles.
It really does. You tied that together so beautifully and nicely. I love that. And I actually have the book right here. We're gonna go over financial fitness a little bit today and go over some billionaires' ideas about there's 47 principles in this book. And we're going to talk about the first 4. And really in Warren Woodward and Chris Brady's book, they talk about if you just get the first 7 principles down, you could have a nice nest egg and really, really, really start build some wealth so that you can move to a bigger level of having real generational wealth that you leave to your children. Legacy.
So could you just briefly highlight as to why Let our listeners know why we even listen to them.
Oh my gosh, a million reasons. A billion reasons. I listened to Warren Woodward and Chris Brady because I've been studying under them for the past 2 years, and they are two of the top leadership people on, according to Inc. magazine, top 50 leadership influential people in the world, living or dead. And so
It's so crazy.
I know. I don't know what they did to get. No, I do know what they did to get on that list. They are men of integrity. They keep their word. They do what they say they're going to do. They have servant hearts. I have never been around people that just truly care about other people and helping them succeed in a million different ways. And so I know that just this financial fitness course alone, I've looked at tons of them, being in the credit space and looking at all these different ways to learn about money and wealth and finance. And I've never come across information that speaks the truth to people finally, that there's no agenda of what's in it for me type thing. Finally, they just want to show you like how to get out of debt, make more money, pay less in taxes, make the system work for you. Like they recently came out with a book about crypto. I could go on and on and on and on. Warren Woodward was a genius at the age 24, had 4 patents in his name. Like these are really smart guys. So if I'm going to follow somebody, I'm going to follow somebody that's got some good leadership skills that's actually using it for good in the world. And so anyway.
And that brings us back to the definition of what you can use wealth for.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Good or bad.
Good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. They have their own, it's called Life on Life Initiative, where they do all kinds of sting operations for human trafficking. And so they're getting people, and they get people out of human trafficking, children and adults, and then they reintegrate them back into the world. And so again, all learning financial fitness principles and leadership principles and how to take control of your life and not have PSTD or PTSD forever. I always say it wrong.
I know. Me too.
Anyway,
I know when I hear it wrong.
so let's dive in. Let's
Absolutely.
those 4 principles.
Absolutely. So the first principle, so this is, we defined what real wealth is, right? And then the first principle is, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And I know I've been on this soapbox for years prior to meeting Orrin and Chris. I was going to say Orrin and Chris Brady. Warren Woodward and Chris Brady. Prior to meeting them, I was, reading books on how do I avoid taxes? How do I not pay taxes? How do I, so I went through tax school and I realized so much. I read tax law. I'm a geek when it comes to taxes. I'm not a financial advisor in any way, shape, or form. However, what I learned in that tax law was how to keep more of the money you make. And why doesn't everybody know this? They made it so crazy in the tax law, the tax jargon, that you're like, whatever, just do my taxes and, rip the Band-Aid off. So people don't really understand taxes. And I'm telling you, if you do, you'll be able to keep more of the money you make. Okay. And there's some other principles along with that I'll let Becky share about keeping more of the money you make.
Oh my gosh, this subject is so annoying to me because I'm like, okay, I've lived with this principle in my head. Like we hear it all the time. It's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. Pay yourself first and keep what you pay yourself. Like we hear it all the time. We hear it so much that I think we're desensitized to it. Like whatever, man, I'm just doing what I can do every day to just get by. And it's not about what you make. Okay, I'll start paying myself one day. But one day never comes. And here's my profound kick in the gut moments is what drives me nuts is that I can go figure out how to go make more money. I do it all the time. If I need more money, I just go figure out how to do it. I get it done, right? So I'm really good at offense. Like I can make it happen. I can make it rain. But defense has always been my weakness because I'll just go figure out how to make more money because I need more money. And so, but defense really is just as important as offense. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you don't have defense, then it doesn't matter what you're doing on offense because you're always going to lose because you're never going to have a savings. You're never going to build real wealth. And so it's a kick in the gut to me because I got to get better at defense. And so I live with that. It's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. And then Joanna and I are doing something together right now because we're always trying to level up our leadership and level up what we're doing. And so I don't know if you've ever heard, to create a habit, it's 21 days.
Mm-hmm.
21 days in a row to do something to create a habit. Apparently, something that it does to your brain, where your brain, your conscious and your subconscious believe you that you're going to do something. And
Yeah.
so it starts going in the same direction. And so perhaps if you wanted to get into the habit of good offense with money, defense with money, if you can have a good defense with money, you just automatically put 10% in a bank account and make sure that you're doing that every single day for 21 days. And then your subconscious and your conscious believe that you're going to make that a part of what you do. And then you start building real wealth. So 21 days from now, I would love for somebody to say, hey, I did it.
Yeah.
Make sure to comment in here if you start that habit, even if it's a tiny, tiny amount. Doesn't have to be big amounts. It could be $5 a day. You just make sure to be intentional about doing the habit so your subconscious believes that you're going to do it.
So here's a question. I know it came up for people. They're going, but Becky, I don't get paid every day.
Yeah. So figure it out. Like, I'm just kidding. So you
know they're saying that, so I have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can even do well, I'm talking about reading a book every day for 21 days to be in a habit, and no, you couldn't do it every day, but you probably could actually, because you could technically get paid. Like, okay, this would be more work. So don't just hear me out.
Yeah.
Just hear me out. Give me the space to explain this. A lot of people like to do set it and forget it. So if you're one of those people, just do that. When you get your paycheck, have a certain cut of 10% that comes off the top. That's what the government does to us with our taxes. And we don't seem to, complain at all. We just let them take that money. We don't figure out strategies to keep more of it. Oh, wait, yes, we do. That's why we're here. But my point is that you could technically, because technology is so easy now that you could, I have this much in my account. I'm going to move $5 over a day. I'm going to move $5 over a day. You could technically do that. But if you're one of those set it and forget it people and are like, don't trust yourself with that habit of doing it every day, then at least take 10% off your paycheck or $5 or 10, whatever that amount is, set it, commit to doing it, decide to do it, because that's the golden nugget there, is to decide.
That is gold.
Yeah.
I hope you guys wrote that down. That is true gold. And if you do a set it and forget it, that means you're not learning anything. Just saying.
Yeah, because when it gets hard, then you'll just go get that money out of the bank account and pay whatever it was that you needed to pay, instead of getting into the habit of keeping the temper. Don't you work hard? Like, don't you deserve to have some of your money? Like,
Absolutely.
That's the big thing here. Like, think about how many hours you spend working and then you don't keep any of it. Like, don't you deserve to keep some of it too? And shouldn't you really pay yourself first and keep what you pay yourself?
Yeah.
It's such a tiny saying, but it really is huge and profound. And I've spent the last 2 years just marinating on the thought. And so I fully invite you to do that. You're welcome. It'll annoy you, I promise.
And for those of you watching TV, there's a Geico commercial out right now that he's sitting there and he's talking to a biker and he's saying, you deserve to save. You deserve to save. And like the biker starts crying, I deserve to save, because we don't feel, I mean, it's such a powerful commercial because we don't save. We don't save for that rainy day, the emergency, or our wealth. right? So please take what Becky said to heart, right? Let's get on to our next number 2. So that was number 1, just so you guys are tracking and writing down. I don't want you to think we forgot a number. Number 1 is it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And number 2 is money is a gift. Money is a gift. How should they treat that, Becky?
Oh my goodness. Money is a gift. It's a stewardship. And so the definition is in here and it's all pulled out. So I'm such a details girl. I'm going to have to look at it and read the whole thing because I like it. And you'll like it too.
Well, as you're looking that up, I'll say the first thing for me is in real estate investing, we do a lot of private money lending with each other, right? Like all the investors lend on each other's properties because it's how we keep more of the money we make and how we make it grow. So you can ask more about that side note. But if I'm not a good steward of money, nobody's going to want to play ball with me, right? So money is a gift. It's helping me build my wealth. And I need to be a good steward of the money I receive. So go ahead, Beck.
And so that means you have a stewardship. You are to use your money for something that matters for your family and beyond. You know, again, I've had to marinate on this. If I had to reprogram my brain and just on those first 2, super profound, because that's not how society teaches us. We buy what we want. We buy when we want. We do what we want. We get that chocolate, we buy that pop, we do, we eat the junk food, we smoke, we drink, we do what we want. We're free. We're free to do whatever we want.
We can afford the payment.
Oh yes, we can afford the monthly payment, but beyond that, if God entrusted us and gave us a blessing, a gift to give back to the world, and then we get monetarily compensated for that, but then we spend it and do all this other stuff with it, like we have a stewardship that God blessed us with to not spend our money on things. And so believe me, this is a habit. I've got some bad habits and I've been working on them so hard, but I keep these principles in my mind so that I know that I'm working towards getting better every day, because that's all we can do in this world. And so I invite you to kind of think about that. It's money is a gift. And so it's a gift not to be what is it? People are always so the money is root of all evil and all that jazz. People are always so worried about, but money is a gift because you can gift other things with it. But if you're using it for bad purposes, even to harm yourself, then it's not necessarily your gift. And so I won't go too much further into that, just because
that could be a whole nother rabbit hole.
You know what you're doing. You know what you're not doing. You know that you feel guilty for all the junk that you do and you don't do every day. I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty. I'm just saying to be aware and just open your mind to the idea that money is a gift and that perhaps you could use it for better purposes. And part of that is accumulating wealth for yourself, your family, and beyond, so that you can give back to society. Because I don't know if you've looked around lately, but there's a lot of people doing a lot of weird stuff. And so maybe there's a light space we can all work together and actually fix some of this stuff. And that is the bigger purpose of why I am on here with Joanna once a week doing this stuff, is so that we can start shining light in a really dark place, so that we can start helping people way faster. And so they can start helping themselves way faster. You're never going to do that if you don't start changing some of the habits that we have been conditioned are normal. I'm tired of being normal.
And I know might be a little twist in your guys' brain. You're like, what? Well, how am I supposed to keep more than money? What do you mean money is a gift? Money's evil. What do you mean? You're like, just trust us on this, right? And again, we're downloading this from the financial fitness book that Becky showed you there. From Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady, who, they don't have to work another day of their lives. They give back to community. Everything that Becky just went over, these amazing human beings, we're sharing this with you because this is our mission now too, right? It's our mission now too. And if you can just grab on to a couple of these principles, there's 47, but if you just take these 4, you're going to be way ahead, light years ahead of everybody else. And trust me, they're not easy. Simple to read, not always easy to do. So stay on track of this. You might have to listen to this a couple of times. And again, if you need help, type in the comments. We're happy to reach out to you.
Well, and just, I mean, not to interrupt, but to interrupt. But we teach a class. I mean, we don't teach a class. We go over their book and we hold each other accountable. And you're free to absolutely join that class. We do it via Zoom. So no matter where you are in the world, you can be doing this with us every week. We do it 1 hour a week and we go through the book together and we answer the workbook and we go through the questions, and we are a good steward. We want to learn these financial principles. We want to learn the foundation of building real wealth. We want to go back and reprogram ourselves the right way instead of the way society has taught us our whole life. So anyway, I just thought I would throw that out there. You know, throw in the comments, I'm all in. Go to our websites, find us, creditcoachqueen.com or bottomlinewealth.net. Is that yours?
Absolutely. That's my website. My contact info is there. And just to pounce on one word you said there.
Ooh, I like pouncing.
Accountability. We hold each other accountable. And this is what I do in my real estate coaching world is I realize there's all kinds of programs you could do out there, all kinds of like DIY courses and whatever. I mean, I paid $40,000 for a real estate investing course and got 6 coaching calls. That's not holding me accountable. That's not saying, hey, are you on the right road? Or do these videos even make sense to you? Or how does it work? None of that even works, right? So being with somebody live, like we do, Becky and I, the financial fitness class, and holding each other accountable, all the people that come on the call, we give homework and we have special implementation so that you do the work, right? That's what we're about, is implementation, getting the work done, taking the time out for someone who's just got that mental stuckness. Like, I know I should be doing better, but I'm not, and I don't know why. Great. You're in the right boat. Come on in. We got you. So on to our third principle here. Live within your means. Live within your means. What does that mean, Becky?
Live within your means. Set up a budget. And once you set up that budget, live within your means.
Budget's such a 4-letter word.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Why not a budget?
You want to know what my 4-letter word? Okay, yes, I know. You're so funny. Are you doing that because you know my 4-letter word?
Oh, you muted for some reason.
Because I got excited. Okay, so do you know what my 4-letter word for budgeting is?
What is your 4-letter word?
Gold.
Gold
is my 4-letter word for budgeting.
And why do you say that?
Because if you could learn to actually, if people would take the time to learn to budget and stick to a budget, pay yourself first, then you could have some gold. Anyway,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Love it.
Other than the other 4-letter word.
Yeah. I was saying a curse word because, when someone says, I got to go on a diet, that's a curse word, budget. Oh, I got a budget. And there's all these crazy things that go in our head, like it's a negative place. It's really not a negative place. So diet shouldn't really be diet, right? It should be a way of life. This is your way of life. I'm going to have a healthy protein shake because this is the only machine I get to live this life. Same thing with your money, right? I'm going to budget because that's going to give me a healthy, wealthy life. So how you treat your body is how you treat your money.
Isn't that profound?
Isn't it profound? I know. I actually learned that probably about 6 years ago. I actually a little bit longer, seven now. Oh my goodness. When I had a complete meltdown, my body was just a complete meltdown. And I was striving in my business and I was being successful, and my body shut down because I was overly stressed and like I wasn't eating healthy. I was having rock stars every single day, those energy drinks.
Yes, I do.
With the lemonade ones, like twice a day even, I was eating at Nations, a big burger place, all the time, getting my ham and cheese with raw onion. Like that was my jam, my ham and cheese grill. Just not, and then just eating whatever was in front of me because I was in the work zone till 10 o'clock at night sometimes, right? You can't do that. You can't do that. You can, but something will happen that will stop you. And that's what happened with me. And this is why I take my health so seriously now. And my nutritionist, I mean, stood up for me. And this is what we're trying to do for you guys. I'm just trying to give you a story, an example of why we're doing this. That I was going to go travel across the nation. And she's like, well, you need to have this shake and this is how you need to eat and blah, blah, blah. I go, it's just not a good time for me to do that because I'm going to be traveling across the nation and I don't have anything to plug in the blender with. Like, come on, how convenient is that? And she stood up and said, this is a way of life. If you want to live, if you want to have a healthy life, you know, and I went, whoo, it's a way of life. And you know what? I packed my cooler. I had my almond milk. I put my protein powder. My husband diligently went out to the truck every morning after we stayed in the hotel. We zipped some protein shakes together and we were back on the road. And I had made little Tupperware containers that had, you know, fresh, great food that I cooked that didn't have restaurant stuff in it. Because, you know, when you travel, you eat at restaurants and you don't know what you're eating actually. So, and I immediately lost like 25 pounds, first of all, woohoo. But it was the health, the feeling that I had that was important to me. And that's what you're going to get in a budget, right? It's a way of life so that you have that feeling, that health, that, and your shoulders are like this today. And then the budget brings them down, right? And you can relax a little bit because you have a nest egg, you have a cush. It doesn't have to be like super big, huh?
Sorry, you don't feel like you're a slave to money.
You don't feel like you're a slave to money.
You take control. Money's your slave.
Yeah.
And you're not with it every day. You make it go where it's supposed to go every day because you take control of it. And that's taking control of everything. You can't, I don't think you can do it all at once. It's like we're so deep in our brains and we're so deep in wanting to stay a kid. I don't want to go to school, right? I don't want to learn money. I don't want it. Well, how's that working out for you so far? Like, you know, like well, for me, I'm talking to me. How's that working out for me? Busy, not adulting. We want to buy what we want to buy and we want to eat what we want. It's a human emotion. It's just an emotional thing. It's not reality. And so I'm growing up some, just so you know, some of this stuff is even newer to me to get to this like next level of leadership so that I can show other people how to do the same thing. That's really what it's all about. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And if there's one thing you can take from, if you know Chris Brady and Orrin Woodward, or want to get to know them, you'll know that they haven't stopped growing either.
They haven't.
They listen to audios, read books, and I mean, they're always up leveling their leadership. Mm-hmm. Like if you're not growing, you're dying. So you might as well grow. You're here, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So in closing here, I just want to go ahead and step into the fourth principle. Don't take advice from broke people. You want to dive into that one, Becky?
I do. I say this. There's something that I heard recently that I've been saying that I like. Two things. One, from your neck down, you're a W-2 employee, and from your neck up, you have $1 billion business. That's the first thing.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Two, I was taking financial advice from myself. And when they say don't take advice from broke people, like if I'm a broke person, why am I taking advice from myself? Why am I listening to myself about what I should be spending my money on? And so I tell myself that, and then I follow what Warren and Chris say to do. And so then I level up what my money is. These guys are multi-millionaires, live off of 10% of their interest. Like they have assets out the wazoo. They know what they're doing with money, but they started out in a trailer home with the door coming off. And so they started out with no money and took these principles and used them, learned them, applied them over and over and over again until they were multimillionaires. So if they did it, so can I. So what do you think about that?
Absolutely. So no matter where you are in your journey is really the point I'm trying to make here with this statement, listening to Chris and Oren, they haven't stopped growing, right? Like if you are in that trailer broke and the door is falling off, listen to someone who has made it, right? Or has made it a few feet from you. And you could just go that next few feet.
There you go.
Take baby steps, right?
Yeah. The thing about that for me, like I took advice from my parents. I saw what they did their whole life, and I didn't even take advice from them because I knew that they didn't know how to do their money stuff, but I had followed a pattern because I was living in a 95% world, not learning under people that do have money and how to do that, and who do you go to do that, and how does that work, and how can you trust what they're going to say? Like these are the thoughts that I had in my head that was like, well, what do you do? Okay, well, I'll just go start a business because that's what rich people do, right? And then through what I've learned with Chris and Oren, no, starting a business is not what rich people. Yes, you can be comfortable, you can make money starting a business, but you're still working a job. Whether you're paying your paycheck or somebody else is paying your paycheck, you're still working a job. The difference of building real wealth is taking what you are accumulating and using it to have assets. And so that was a profound shift for me because I just figured I'm self-employed and I'll just figure out how to go make more money. Remember the offense, I'll figure out how to make more money. And that still wasn't working for me. And I was 41 years old and I opened this silly green book, and then things have changed for me and they keep changing, they keep leveling up. And so we highly encourage and invite you to join us because this is fun and we want you guys as part of our journey too. So we can hear your stories. We want to hear your stories.
Yeah, and help you along to those next few steps. If that's all it takes for you to like start making that habit that we've been talking about, know that budget is a nice word, not a bad word. And know that there are answers out there for you, and that probably you didn't have them. Don't circle back to your family and friends and go, well, I heard this and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to go, yeah, probably nothing. Just do it the way you've always done it. Right. And then you go, right. Until you hear something like this again. So don't go back and listen that way. Listen forward, move forward towards more skills that will give you those wealth strategies. I mean, just acting on those 4 principles. And let me just reiterate them as we close in here. The first strategy, this is tips from Billionaires, right? The first 4 principles of the 47 that we study in our Tuesday class is it's not what you make, it's what you keep. Money is a gift. Live within your means, and don't take advice from broke people. Like if you could just grab those 4 and ride them for a little bit, you're well on your way. More than 95% of society. I'm telling you.
And one more thing.
Absolutely.
Whatever you're in your head about, remove the silly string. And if you don't know what the silly string is, and you are like, what is silly string? Go back to our first podcast and listen to it so that you'll know what that means.
Absolutely. Great. In closing, beautiful to be with you today, Becky. I look forward to our next call, and we'll see you guys all in the next podcast.
Yeah.
Mwah.